This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 2nd day of February in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. A mid-morning fire ripped through the living quarters of the Guyana Prison Service this morning in Kingston, completely gutting the wooden building. A cause of the fire is still to be determined, but a total of 30 prison officers who stayed at the property have been affected. Most of the prison officers are from outside of Georgetown, but worked at the Lusignan and Georgetown prisons. It was just after 9 o'clock this morning that an alarm was raised when smoke was seen billowing from the building. Within minutes, the entire Parade Street building was engulfed in flames, forcing nearby schools to end classes early and evacuate the students. But there were reports that no one was at the building at the time of the blaze. Director of Prisons Nicklin Elliott told reporters that arrangements were being made to accommodate the affected prison officers.
As for the staff welfare interventions, the staff welfare officer is currently addressing that, and we have already procured housing and clothing for them until we can actually have a permanent accommodation for them.
And the prison director also said the fire service is still probing the cause of that fire. He said the prison service will be moving to ensure there are proper fire prevention systems at all of its facilities.
And recently, as yesterday, we had a fire prevention talk from the fire service, but unfortunately this happens today. So definitely need to review at all of our facilities with regards to fire prevention techniques. I know the building was equipped with fire extinguishers. I think based from the initial assessment that was used by one officer, but I guess because of the heat and the smoke would have caused them to retreat.
Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben visited the scene of the blaze but did not offer any comment to reporters. Tonight, the investigations are ongoing. More news coming up in just a moment.
Oh my lord, I just love to shop in this store. My customers, them gonna love all these things. So many different things in one place. Household items, electronics, toys, stationery, confectionery, exercise equipment, shoes and clothes for men, women and children, school things, costume, jewelry, perfume, makeup. Oh, look the makeup!
Giftland Office Max, Guyana's favorite department store.
On Thursday, February 22nd, we're heading to the biggest wet fed of MASH, Splash-O-Mani 2024 at the Guyana National Stadium. Nuff Water, Pulse, Nuff Soca. The night before the holiday, Soca star Problem Child. All that Gucci. Splash-O-Mani, the official wet fed of MASH 2024. Problem Child, Olatunji, and more to be added. Come, let's soak you down in water and soca. Early bird tickets $3,000. Brought to you by Hits and Jams Entertainment.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that me crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
The umbrella trades union body, the Guyana Trades Union Congress, is backing the call by the Guyana Teachers Union for teachers to begin strike action from Monday. In a statement today, the GTUC said it stands in solidarity with the GTU in its struggle for equal treatment for teachers under the Constitution and laws of Guyana, and taking industrial action from next Monday. The GTUC says it holds the People's Progressive Party civic government accountable for creating what it called a bad industrial relations climate in the country by its discriminatory management that sees a continuous violation of laws and the transgressing of the rights of some workers. The GTUC reminded that Article 147 of the Constitution of Guyana not only protects workers' rights to join a trade union of their choice and engage in collective bargaining with the employer, but to also take strike action. The union said the rights are enshrined in international labor conventions, and it is important to note the right to strike is particularly exercised when workers' grievances are ignored by the employer. The GTUC said the Irfan Ali administration had more than 3 years to engage the GTU, which submitted a proposal on wage and salaries and working conditions in August of 2020. While the Ali regime ignored the GTU, as recently as this past week, officials of the government made public their plan to engage unions in the Sugar Belt to address issues of wages and salaries and working conditions, the GTUC said. According to the union, that disparity in treatment is part of the PPP's regime's contempt for sections of the workforce, which the GTUC will not countenance. According to the GTUC, efforts by the Guyana Teachers Union to have its proposal addressed have not only been rebuffed, but teachers have had to face various insults, threats, and intimidation coming from the government. The union said attempts to now sow division and dissuade workers from taking action protected by the Constitution by making the GTU General Secretary Coretta MacDonald scapegoat is being condemned by the GTUC in the strongest possible terms. The GTUC said Coretta MacDonald, like C. Paul Narine, are members of parliament. And while MacDonald is serving the country on the opposition side, Narine serves on the government side. The Guyana Agricultural and General Workers Union, of which Narine is the president, and the union that represents sugar workers, is to meet with the government shortly to address the welfare of sugar workers, consistent with the right to collective bargaining, the GTUC said. It reminded that GAWU is not superior to the teachers' union, and to meet with GAWU and refuse to meet with the GTU represents another flagrant violation of the law and the transgression of the rights of some workers. 1 month after taking up membership of the UN Security Council, Guyana has taken over the reins of the presidency of the Council for the month of February. Guyana's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Karen Rodriguez Burkett, promised that Guyana will use its voice on the Council to ensure global peace and security is maintained. Guyana's presence on the Security Council comes at a time when there is a rise in the number of conflicts globally, which have human rights and other consequences. Ambassador Burkett noted that Guyana will offer to the Council what it has been practicing over the years. But with Guyana's pledge to ensure peace and stability, the representative was asked if Guyana will be using its influence on the Council to raise the border controversy with Venezuela. In response, she said Venezuela is not on the program of work of the Council. Neither did Guyana request a meeting on Venezuela to be placed on the agenda.
Decided that it was necessary for us to inform the Council in December of what was happening between our two countries, given the narratives, the worrying narratives that was coming out at that time from Venezuela, and given the responsibility of the Council for International Peace and Security, we thought it important to inform the Council. At this point in time, we do not believe that it is a matter that we need to bring to the Council again.
Ambassador Burkett told reporters that it is not the case that the Venezuela matter is not important, but she said that as things stand now, Guyana and Venezuela recently signed an agreement referring to the Argyle Declaration, which has calmed the rhetoric coming from Venezuela.
Of course, the matter is in the hands of the ICJ. The land border matter is in the hands of the ICJ, but consequential matters relating to our cooperation with Venezuela as a neighbor is included in that joint commission where those issues would be discussed, and a first meeting was held already.
Guyana will serve the UN Security Council for the next 2 years as a non-permanent member. The UN Security Council is comprised of 15 countries, 5 of which, China, France, Russia, the UK and the US, are permanent members, granting them the right to veto any resolution or decision of the Security Council.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo, from its pristine rivers to its abundant resources. It's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Turning our attention now to the aviation sector, the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority is in line to receive $705.2 million in subvention as it prepares for an audit by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, to ensure compliance with international standards. This year's subvention is significantly higher when compared to the $348.7 million in government support that the Aviation Authority received last year. In justifying the sum, Minister of Public Works Juan Egil said it is necessary to finance the preparatory works ahead of the international audit of the country's aviation sector.
In preparation for the ICAO audit, the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority has been receiving technical support and help from the South American region, of which we are working with in preparation for an audit. So any assessments would have come from there to tell us how to prepare for our audit, and that's where we are.
During the last audit conducted in 2020, the country was found to be 76.9% in compliance with the ICAO standards. At the time, the global average was around 67%. Minister Edgell told the Committee of Supply that financial support for the Civil Aviation Authority is necessary due to the lack of prudent management of the authority's finances in the past. According to him, back in 2020, the authority's coffers were empty, though in 2015 there was approximately $1 billion in the accounts of the authority. But the minister's statement did not sit well with Member of Parliament Amansa Walton Desir, who asked the Public Works Minister to clarify whether the cessation of flights during the COVID-19 pandemic had impacted the revenue of the Aviation Authority.
I would hate to think that he is inferring that somehow empty coffers were as a result of something else other than the fact that flights were grounded and there was no revenue coming from that, and that was the primary earner of revenue for the Civil Aviation Authority.
But holding fast to his position, Minister Edgell said had the accounts been managed well, there would have been little trouble during difficult times, as he hinted at the mismanagement of the authority's financial resources under the former government. He said the situation was so dire the GCAA had gone into its reserves.
Recklessness as it relates to spending on things that are not policy driven. COVID had an impact because we lost revenue because of the absence of overflights. But that did not contribute to the total deficit that we reached.
But both opposition members, Walton Desir and Annette Ferguson, questioned whether the expenses incurred were largely as a result of the need to bring the country's aviation sector in compliance with the ICAO standards. MP Ferguson reminded the committee that in 2015, when the APNU AFC took office, the country had a compliance rate of 44%. And when the coalition demitted office in 2020, it was significantly higher, surpassing the global average. The government of Guyana has allocated a sum of $5 million to the Guyana Teachers Union to assist teachers who fall in difficult times, Education Minister Priya Manikchand told the National Assembly today. During the consideration of the budget estimates, the Education Minister said the allocation forms part of the government's efforts to assist teachers through various mechanisms. The $5 million, which was approved as part of the budgetary allocations for the ministry, did not increase over the past 3 years, despite the number of new teachers now in the system.
So when teachers fall into hardship, sir, the government helps through the union by this subvention. So I would invite teachers to visit their union for that help.
But opposition member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal questioned the allocation, saying that it should be much more. He said consideration should be given to increasing the subvention of the Guyana Teachers Union because of the work it does for teachers right across the country. But in response, the Education Minister noted that other assistance is given to teachers, but not through the GTU.
But this is not the only place we provide for teachers' welfare. In fact, a significant portion of teachers have asked us not to attach their welfare to the Guyana Teachers Union because they're either not members or the benefits that they get are sporadic, absent, or biased.
Manikchand told the parliamentary committee that the bulk of the nation's teachers may not be members of the GTU, and therefore the government cannot pour resources into the union that will not reach thousands of teachers.
This $5 million is not the only thing we give to teachers. In fact, the Chief Education Officer published a letter the last 48 hours detailing 28 actions taken over the last 2 years that are aimed specifically at improving the welfare of teachers. The Guyana Teachers Union, the teaching service in Guyana is over 13,000 teachers. The union does not enjoy the membership of 13,000 persons, and at their last election had under 4,000 persons voting and present. So it may indicate to you why it's not a sensible plan to invest all that we have for teachers in one body.
The Guyana Teachers Union, as we have been reporting, has called industrial strike action from Monday across the country for all teachers. Vice President Barra Jagdeo has made it clear that Guyana is exercising caution after the Nicolas Maduro administration in Venezuela breached an agreement to lift a ban on the opposition leader Maria Corina Machado from participating in the upcoming Venezuelan elections. Caracas had agreed to an electoral deal, which included holding elections this year and lifting all bans that prevented opponents of the Maduro administration from holding public office. But the country's Supreme Court last week upheld a 15-year ban on Maria Corina Machado, who was running for president. Weighing in on the issue during his press conference yesterday, Vice President Jagdeo, while urging Trinidad and Tobago to be cautious of its agreement with Venezuela to develop the Dragon gas field, said Guyana is often mindful of Venezuela's extremist position when dealing with certain issues.
So I don't want to, at this stage, say what I truly think. But I just urge Trinidad and Tobago to be very cautious in those negotiations and just be cautious.
Just recently, Guyana's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hugh Tan, led a high-level team to Brazil, where they met with Venezuelan Minister of Foreign Affairs in keeping with the Argyle Declaration. That declaration was developed to ease tension between Guyana and Venezuela, as the International Court of Justice hammers out that controversy over the validity of the 1899 arbitral award, which settled the boundaries between Guyana and Venezuela. Vice President Jagdeo said if Venezuela was respectful of agreements, the border controversy would have been a non-issue.
The Venezuelan government often doesn't respect agreements. If it had respected agreements, it would see that it has absolutely no evidence whatsoever that the 1899 agreement is flawed. And if it could repudiate an agreement of that nature on borders settled over 100 years ago by an international tribunal, which they accepted, then it cannot, in my view, be a trustworthy partner in negotiations until it demonstrates otherwise.
Still, Mr. Jagdeo said the government is working on a series of confidence-building measures as it engages Venezuela on a number of issues. However, he noted that Venezuela's violation of the Bridgetown Agreement comes as no surprise.
No, in this case, there were signs that this would happen, signs that anyone with eyes should see that this was going to happen even before now. It's not a surprise to me, and I'm sure it's not a surprise to many others who've been carefully observing what's going on in Venezuela.
The United States has already reimposed a number of sanctions against Venezuela over its decision to maintain that ban on a number of opposition politicians.
Imported frozen meat and food products, fresh produce and pet supplies, freshly made bread. Rotisserie chicken and patties are also available daily. Shop in comfort today at Food Max and let our courteous staff assist you in satisfying your shopping needs. Food Max, the fresh food specialist.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall in the region. Argentines sought shade and tried to cool off in public fountains on Thursday as a heat wave hitting the country saw temperatures rise towards 40 degrees Celsius. Everything is melting, Diego Gatti, a 34-year-old merchant in Buenos Aires, told Reuters, adding that at least near the coast, there was some access to water and breeze. The South American country is home to some 45 million people and an important grains producer of soy, corn, and wheat. Hundreds of people flocked to rivers and doused themselves on their colorful showers to contend with the heat, as an official red alert was issued for high temperatures around the country. Brazil's Amazon Fund for Sustainable Rainforest Development received $640 million in new pledge donations from developed nations last year. The environmental director of the National Development Bank that manages the fund, Teresa Campello, said on Thursday. Of that total, $500 million was committed by the Biden administration over 5 years and still need approval by U.S. Congress. Other new donations came from Britain, Denmark, the European Union, while Norway, the original donor to the fund with $1.2 billion, added additional funding last year, as did Germany, the second country to back the initiative. Since President Luiz Lula da Silva took office a year ago, deforestation in Brazil's Amazon has fallen to the lowest rate since 2018, after surging under his predecessor, Jair Bolsonaro, a climate change denier. And finally tonight, international news. A huge gas blast in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, has killed at least 3 people and injured nearly 300, according to the BBC. A lorry carrying gas cylinders exploded in the capital city at about 23:30 hours on Thursday, igniting a huge ball of fire, an official said. Housing, businesses and cars were damaged, with videos showing a huge blaze raging close to blocks of flats. The area has been cordoned off and an investigation is on the way into the cause of the explosion. A child was among those who died, according to the police chief, who added that the death toll could rise. Some 271 people were taken to hospital, according to the authorities, including at least 25 children. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.